my name is Charlie. I am one of the artists for the comic of Room for 8, aka this channel. And today I'm going to be talking about the characters and the plot of the comic in general, and a little bit about the artists and the writers. So let's get started. Let's start by talking about our characters. So first up we have Sierre. As you can see on the screen, he is a blue jay Goetia at 23 years old, pansexual, asexual. He goes by he, they, and he is a Goetia who goes up to the human world to collect any lost demon relics that he can alter, or he can keep them as is and use them. And he is kind of a big point in the plot because he's the one who lets everybody live in his palace, which will come up later. But he also gives the rest of the group relics as well, and it'll lead to some things later on, but we're not going to discuss that because spoilers. And next up is Spade. Spade is a deep sea imp hybrid, and deep sea meaning greed shark. I don't know how we refer to them, but imp shark mix. And he loves to play poker. He loves alcohol, and major part of his backstory that might come up in a comic is that he lost his wife in a bet. So that might be a major plot point that we are going to try to include in our comic as well, along with everything else. Spade is a regular at a place called Mammon's Mansion, which is a casino in the Greed Ring. The next two characters we're going to be talking about are Rosa Amante and her manager and best friend Bailey. These are two characters that I created, and there's a lot more info going to be shared about them on Rosa's channel. Speaking of which, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you want to see the comics, and subscribe to all the character channels, link in the description. Back to Rosa and Bailey. Rosa and Bailey are both 17 years old. Rosa is a singer in Lust, and she often performs at Ozzy's, but she has performed at other places. For example, she's done some advertising for the Has-Been Hotel, and she has worked in Mammon's Mansion, which might be how they all meet. You might not know. But Bailey is her manager. She keeps Rosa organized and in stable condition so that Rosa doesn't kill anybody. I have two characters because the person who is Bailey's creator wanted me to design and create Bailey. So I based it off of her entirely because she's one of my very close friends. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And all the characters have different creators. My personal ones are Rosa and Bailey. And if you check some of the character channels, they do have the artist mentioned in the About section, so be sure to check that out. And the next character we're going to talk about is Ace. Ace is a non-binary skeleton jester from Greed. They are 14 and an orphan who ran away from the orphanage. For some reason, they love alcohol, and based on the person who created this, I can tell why it is such a chaotic character. Okay, moving on. Next character we have is Amphitrite. Amphitrite is a deep sea demon imp mix as well, except she is basically worst enemies. With Spade, they go at each other's throats all of the time. And she has a little bit of blood from Wrath, so she's the most chaotic being you will ever meet. She is very energetic, and it's kind of like Millie, but isn't as obsessed with the guy, because she's also gay. But yeah, so that's Amphitrite for you, folks. We are only 4 minutes in, and I'm already losing my confident speaking voice. Let's keep going, shall we? The next character we're going to be talking about is Celine. That's spelled S-A-L-I-N-E. It's pronounced Celine, but it spells saline. I don't know why. Ask the creator. Comment below. Anyway, Celine is a succubus who works at Ozzy's as a background singer or dancer, and she is severely underpaid and loves to buy cigarettes. Sometimes she'll tag along with Rosa and Bailey to go to different places for different acts if she gets the opportunity, because she is not had a lot of better things to do except being underpaid in a background dancer. So yeah, that is Celine. And next we're going to talk about Lola. Lola is the last person we're going to be talking about because she's the last character. Lola is a succubus who is a poker dealer in Mammon's Mansion in the Ring of Greed. She loves hard liquor and cigarettes, so she and Celine get along very well when they meet. And there's not much else to her other than she's the fact that she's 24, but yeah, she's the oldest in the group. So with that all said, we've talked about all the characters. Now let's talk about the different relationships between the characters. And then after that, we will talk about the plot of the whole comic itself so that you have a basic understanding of the comic we're trying to do. So let's start with the relationships between different characters. So to begin, I do want to say that we are including relationships with characters from the actual Helva Boss show. Those characters do not belong to us at all. They belong to Vivzy Pop and the team. So they have full credits for that. They don't belong to us at all. But with that in mind, let's get started. So first, let's talk about a little bit of rivalry amongst the friend group. So Amphitrite and Spade absolutely hate each other, just like their creators do in real life. So they absolutely hate each other. They go at each other's throats all the time. They say it's in a playful manner, but everybody can tell it's not in a playful manner. It kind of gets concerning sometimes to the rest of the group, but they always have to calm the two down to make sure that nobody kills each other. But they're pretty much the only ones who have that type of relationship in this group. And that's pretty much it. The people in this group don't really have any rivalries with anybody else. With that, we need to lead into friendships amongst the group. So as I established before, Rosa and Bailey are absolute best friends. And Rosa and Bailey are good friends, very close friends with Celine and Lola after they meet them. Sierra eventually becomes good friends with Rosa. Spade and Amphitrite, as we said, aren't friends, but Spade becomes good friends with Ace because they both share a love for alcohol. Amphitrite becomes good friends with Bailey because Bailey is quite the opposite of Amphitrite, and they have that kind of clash in personality, which makes them for a good friendship. They do have friendships with people from outside their group, which would be the actual Helva Boss characters. So Millie has been childhood friends with Amphitrite, so they've known each other in their adult life. So Amphitrite has introduced the entire group to the IMP team, and so they've become good friends with that. Rosa has talked to Blitz and is close with Blitz, and Bailey actually already knew Luna from the Hellhound Orphanage in Gluttony. And on top of that, Sierra is brothers with Stolas, which means he kind of knows about the whole Stolas and Blitz drama, and the group has been trying to fix it for a while, especially because they really like Stolas. They're really good. They've become really good friends with Stolas after they met him through Sierra, and they kind of hate seeing Stolas sad, so they've been trying to really fix what's going on while not trying to interfere too much, but they've been interfering a lot with it. As for lovers' relationships, it really isn't any amongst the group, but there is one with somebody outside of the group, and that would be Rosa and Octavia. If you check out Rosa's channel, she actually has a lot of things with her and Octavia in them. They are dating, and I want to mention this now. Octavia being asexual, lesbian, and using she/they pronouns, that is a headcanon put in by us into our comic. That is not aligned with the show at all. It is a headcanon that we use to fit into the comic plot. So with that in mind, yes, Octavia and Rosa are dating. But pretty much other than that, there is no other romantic relationships amongst anybody in the group with anybody else. I think Celine and Amphitrite might be dating, but that is not confirmed yet by us. And that's pretty much all we have on dynamics and relationships. So with that, let's talk about the plot of our comic. So I'm going to just go from beginning to the main plot-ish type thing. I'm not going to say any specific storylines or spoil anything. But basically, everybody meets at Mammon's Mansion, which is why I've brought it up so much. Everybody meets at Mammon's Mansion. Rosa has been performing, and if you saw on Sierra's little description, he plays the flute. He does play the flute at like stages sometimes, and this was one of the nights where he decided he was going to play the flute at Mammon's Mansion. So backstage, Rosa, Bailey, and Celine are all talking, and they meet Sierra. Sierra offers to buy them a drink, and they go and get drinks. While they're getting drinks, they meet Ace, and they all decide that they want to go play poker while Ace is drinking, and just Ace tags along, and that's how they meet Ace. And while they go to play poker, obviously they meet Spade, but Spade is arguing with Amphitrite, and Lola is standing there awkwardly, so they all kind of meet in weird ways for that. And then eventually they all become good friends, and they start hanging out at Mammon's Mansion. However, one day, Spade loses all his money in a bet. So, Sierra invites Spade to live at his house, in his castle, and eventually, for some unknown reasons, everybody else has to move in as well, which is how they all end up living in the same castle. So the storyline goes where they meet a bunch of new people, have a bunch of different like little situations, go on a bunch of different adventures. They all introduce like different people to each other. They hang out. Sometimes they'll have their own little solo adventures. It kind of just goes with whatever. Eventually, some characters will change by either moral means or like magical means, like they'll get powers from different relics given to them by Sierra, or they'll change their ways, and maybe Amphitrite and Spade will finally stop fighting, like in real life. But yeah, so everything will eventually go on from there. Hopefully we can make these comics happen so that you guys can see and enjoy. I am currently working on the first page to the very first comic, which would be an introduction to all the characters at Mammon's Mansion. That will be a whole other thing. And with that, you can see I am almost finished with my drawing, both the human forms and the demon forms, because I was adding Celine to the picture. But with that, we're pretty much finished talking about everything we need to know. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content and all the comics. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.